Yeah, I mean, I've had many of these. I had a lot of growing to do in the 4 years before, like that. It's really in the past 2 years that things have taken into overdrive. I had an instance that, I had a tough kind of childhood. It was more neglect than anything, just emotional neglect. My mother didn't understand the concept of love, so she didn't understand healthy how that worked. But in my adulthood, I experienced a lot of, like, just a lot of loss, and aside from my mother, there's my sister, and I had a childhood friend, and then I was in a relationship at the time that had to end, but we had an infant child, and she took that child and moved across the country, said she was going to stay in contact, and then just blacked out. So I haven't seen my son in 2.5, 3 years now. So it's, that kind of loss, will bring people to, their knees. And, so I moved to Sedona as kind of as a trauma response. And, right after that happened, and, I was just dealing with a whole lot. And, I kind of went to Bell Rock, and it's kind of one of these very famous, vortex places. And, I just put out there that it was like, I'm here. And the natives used to go to Sedona. They didn't really live up there as much as they'd go up there to heal, and then they'd kind of come back to where they were. So when I moved there, I was thinking, I was just like, I'm just going to move here and be here, but that's not how it turned out. And it turned out that I kind of did what the natives did, and I lived there for a year. But in that time period, I just had, crazy things happen. And so when I was there the first day, I did this really intense meditation for like an hour on Bell Rock, and just like, show me what I'm supposed to do, because things are not going so well in my life right now, and I could really use some direction, right? Like, so, I did that, and then about, a few months later, I was just, walking in the wilderness, and I was kind of having this dialogue with my intuition and my higher self up there, which is kind of the player character, the player out there. It's like the simulation theory in the video game. It's like the one who's controlling you with the controls on the other side of the TV. That's your higher self. And so once you're in contact, and there's a lot in there to get in contact with that, with your higher self, once you're in contact with the person on the other side of the video game, you're in true control of your life. And so I was just talking, and I was kind of just like, well, I'd be good at this. Like, I feel like I've come a long way in my healing, and, I'm just having this conversation. I've come a long way. And I just said, out loud, like, it's like, I'd be good at this. And in that moment, that's when the book came, and the idea for the you and the sorcery, and the 13 rungs, because I was in AA for a long time, and that's kind of what sparked, like, a guiding system. People need, it can't just be a book. There has to be like a system that people can follow, and to have their own kind of awakening. So, 12 steps, it's like, well, they're very rigid, of course it's based in religion. Religion's very strict and rigid. So the 12 steps are very strict and rigid, and you're powerless, and you go, this, and you go that step. And, so, okay, let's make something way more fluid, that, like, you can focus on one and go to the other, and, move back and forth. So this is much more fluid. And, moving forward steps, well, that's good, but moving up, well, that's better, because, a bird has a better perspective on things than a worm. So rungs, so you're moving up, and you're getting a better perspective on your life. So that's when everything kind of came to me, all at once, all in that moment, after I asked. And I just simply had to ask, and be ready. And it all came to me, and I was just like, I was having another bliss attack in that moment. And, like, so I was having, this is probably my third or fourth one, and just having this all at once, and everything just kind of coming to me, and was like, this is what you're going to do, this is how you're going to do it. And that it just all came to me. And that was the greatest hike of my life, let me tell you. So, that's one of those things that, yeah, I can definitely look back on, and just, it gives me chills just thinking about it. But yeah, that would be one of those times.